inside the world's most expensive, like highly revered mechanical watches. There are these tiny metal gears, right? And they are violently crashing into each other up to 10 times every single second.
Yeah, it's pretty intense when you actually think about it.
It really is. I mean, that comforting, rhythmic tick-tock sound you associate with passing time, it is actually the sound of a luxury machine slowly destroying itself.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to the deep dive, by the way. I have to ask you, listening, have you ever looked at a really high-end watch through a thick pane of boutique glass and just wondered what actually makes it special?
Right, beyond the frankly intimidating price tag.
Exactly, beyond the price tag.
You know, it changes your entire perspective once you start questioning the mechanics behind luxury.
Oh, for sure.
We tend to just accept that a premium item is superior, but peeling back the case to see the physics at work reveals something, truly profound about human engineering.
Well, today we are dissecting an incredible piece of source material to do just that.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It is an excerpt from the 5th installment of this brilliant science series titled The Physics of Elegance, Inside Grand Seiko Spring Drive.
A fascinating read.
And our mission today is to unpack a literal mechanical miracle. We're going to explore why the second hand on a spring drive watch doesn't tick, but glides like it's floating in space.
It's mesmerizing to watch.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we will uncover how this watch uses the exact same everyday physics as a bicycle light to achieve zero friction, all without ever needing a battery.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can appreciate the absolute magic of the spring drive, we first need to understand the violent reality of traditional watches.
Yeah, you really have to set the stage.
We cannot grasp the solution until we truly understand the problem.
Right, and framing it as a problem is the perfect starting point. Because, most people think of traditional mechanical watchmaking as the absolute pinnacle of delicate, refined craftsmanship.
Right, like totally pristine and gentle.
Exactly. But on a microscopic level, standard mechanical timekeeping is essentially a process of controlled violence.
Controlled violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the source material leans heavily into that concept.
Yeah.
It explains that standard mechanical watches rely on this dash and stop method.
Right.
You have a tightly wound mainspring inside the barrel, and it's storing all this kinetic energy. It desperately wants to unwind and release all that power at once.
And, if you simply let that spring go, the hands would spin wildly around the dial.
So totally out of control.
Yeah, a fully wound watch would exhaust its entire power reserve in a matter of seconds. So to make it actually keep time, you have to trap that energy.
Right.
You let a tiny fraction of a millimeter slip out and then violently stop it again.
And that stopping mechanism is purely physical. Right.
Entirely physical. It involves an intricate assembly of parts, specifically the balance wheel swinging back and forth, and that interacts with a pallet fork and an escape wheel.
Yeah.
And these tiny, super fragile metal components are physically slamming into one another to forcefully halt and restart the release of energy.
Over and over.
Yeah, 6 to 10 times a second.
That is just wild to me.
When you break down the physics of those collisions, you really have to reevaluate our cultural perception of watches. Because that soothing tick-tock sound that lulls you to sleep or sits quietly in a silent room, it's actually the acoustic signature of physical impact.
Wow.
It is the microscopic scream of metal parts colliding, grinding, and wearing each other down. Every single tick is a tiny, destructive mechanical shock.
The scream of the parts. Man, that visual totally ruins the romance of the antique grandfather clock for me.
Yeah, it kind of does.
But it clarifies the mechanical flaw perfectly. It feels like being trapped in a car with a truly terrible driver.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
You know the kind, right? The driver who slams on the gas to speed up and then aggressively stomps on the brakes at every single red light, over and over.
Go, stop, go.
Exactly. Your neck snaps back and forth. That is essentially the internal life of a traditional watch component.
And your terrible driver analogy highlights the exact issue here, which is immense physical friction. Because of those constant jarring collisions, metal is relentlessly hitting metal.
Right, and that can't be good long term.
No, it's not. Over time, no matter how much advanced synthetic lubrication you apply, those parts will inevitably wear out.
If the oil dries up, right.
Exactly. The oil dries up, the friction increases, the watch starts losing its accuracy, and eventually the mechanism degrades to the point of failure.
Which brings us to the hero of our deep dive. Enter the Grand Seiko Spring Drive.
Yes.
The source compares its movement to an automated maglev train on a one-way, constant-speed cruise.
I love that comparison.
There's no stop-and-go traffic, there's no stomping on the brakes, and you actually see this visually on the dial. The second hand moves in a totally continuous sweep.
It's really beautiful.
It does not stutter or tick at all. It just glides silently. But, and here's where I get stuck, that creates a massive logic gap for me.
How so?
Well, you just explained that a traditional watch needs those physical collisions to prevent the mainspring from unwinding in 5 seconds.
Right. It is the fundamental law of mechanical watchmaking. You must have a braking system.
Right. So if the spring drive has no physical brakes and the parts literally never touch each other to slow down, how does the watch not just spin out of control like a broken wind-up toy?
That is the million-dollar question, and solving that puzzle requires us to look past traditional horology and introduce a concept from everyday physics.
Okay, I'm with you.
We are talking about electromagnetic induction. You, and honestly everyone listening, have likely experienced this force firsthand, even without knowing the scientific terminology.
Yeah, the source material gives a brilliantly relatable example here. An old-school bicycle dynamo light.
Yes.
The kind you had to physically click into place so it rubbed against the rubber of the bicycle tire.
Right. Think about the physical sensation of using one of those. When you press that dynamo against the spinning tire, the forward motion of the bike spins a small wheel on the dynamo.
Yeah.
What happens to your legs the exact second you engage that light?
Oh, pedaling suddenly becomes incredibly heavy.
Exactly.
It feels like you instantly hit a steep incline. Even if you are riding on like perfectly flat asphalt, you have to expend significantly more physical effort just to maintain your previous speed.
Right. And what's fascinating here is the underlying physics causing that sudden heaviness. This is the law of conservation of energy making itself known.
Okay.
When you pedal, your muscles generate kinetic energy. The dynamo rubbing against the tire uses that kinetic energy to spin a magnet inside a coil of copper wire.
To create the power.
Yes, that movement induces an electrical current to power your headlamp.
So you're basically converting kinetic energy into electrical energy.
You are, but the universe demands a trade. Nature hates a free lunch, you know? You cannot generate electricity without paying a toll. The scientific term for this toll is Lenz's law. It states that the direction of an induced electrical current will always create a magnetic field that opposes the very motion that created it.
Whoa. So it pushes back.
Exactly. The act of generating power creates an invisible magnetic drag that pushes back against your spinning wheel.
So the light bulb turns on, but your legs pay the toll by fighting that magnetic drag.
Precisely.
If generating electricity inherently creates a magnetic opposing force, are you saying Grand Seiko is using that exact drag on purpose?
Yes.
Are they using the physics penalty as the actual brakes?
They absolutely are. They took the exact annoyance that makes you sweat on a bicycle and they engineered it into an elegant, frictionless braking system for a timepiece.
Oh, that is just brilliant. I mean, I see the connection the source makes to modern electric vehicles now, too. This is regenerative braking.
It is. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is the exact same principle keeping a heavy electric vehicle from careening down a hill. When you lift your foot off the accelerator in a modern EV, the electric motor switches its function to become a generator. The forward momentum of a 2-ton car spins that generator to create electricity and recharge the battery under the floorboards.
And the price of making that electricity is Lenz law kicking in.
Exactly.
A massive magnetic resistance pushes back, slowing the car down smoothly, without the physical brake pads ever having to actually touch the metal rotors. It's totally frictionless deceleration.
You capture the concept perfectly. The kinetic energy is harvested, and the byproduct is a smooth, non-contact braking force.
Okay, I graphed the mechanics of a bicycle dynamo, and I definitely understand how a heavy Prius uses its immense mass to generate drag.
Sure.
But a Prius weighs thousands of pounds. A bicycle dynamo is the size of an apple.
Yeah.
A watch spring has, like, almost zero mass and minimal kinetic energy.
Right, it's tiny.
How on earth do you shrink a dynamo and an EV braking system into a metal watch case that is only a few millimeters thick?
I know. Scaling down those macro forces into a microenvironment is where the engineering borders on science fiction.
It really does.
To understand it, we have to zoom all the way in and look at the brain of this entire operation. Grand Seiko calls it the trisynchro regulator.
The trisynchro regulator. Okay, let's break down this regulator because it starts just like a traditional watch, right?
It does.
You have a mechanical mainspring. You wind the crown with your fingers, or the motion of your wrist winds it, and that tightly coiled piece of metal desperately wants to unwind. That is our pure mechanical power source.
Correct. And as that mainspring unwinds, the energy flows through a series of micro gears, turning the hands of the watch.
Just like normal.
Right. But at the very end of that gear train, instead of the violent escapement we discussed earlier, the energy spins a microscopic, highly polished disc called the glide wheel.
Okay, so we have a rapidly spinning metal disc.
Yeah.
But to recreate our bicycle dynamo, we need magnets and copper wire.
And they are there. Surrounding this microscopic glide wheel is an intricately wound microcoil of wire. As the glide wheel spins, it interacts with that coil and acts as a microscopic electrical generator.
It induces a current.
It induces a current.
But the scale of this induced current is genuinely unfathomable to me.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
The source states that the total amount of electricity generated by this tiny spinning wheel is 25 nanowatts.
Just 25 nanowatts.
To put 25 nanowatts in perspective for you listening, that is less than 1/millionth of the power your smartphone uses while sitting totally idle in your pocket.
Yeah.
1/millionth. It is a ghost of a whisper of an electrical charge.
And this raises an important question. How is an electrical current that infinitesimally small useful for anything?
Right.
I mean, it seems completely insufficient to run any sort of electronic regulation system. Standard quartz watches require vastly more power than that.
Yeah, that part completely stopped me in my tracks while reading. Because a standard battery-powered quartz watch uses electricity to physically move a stepper motor, which pushes the hands forward. 25 nanowatts couldn't possibly move a physical gear.
And it doesn't try to. The genius of the spring drive is that the mechanical mainspring is already doing the heavy lifting of moving the hands.
Oh, right.
The watch does not need electricity to generate motion. It only needs electricity to boot up a brain.
A brain.
Yeah. That microscopic 25 nanowatt spark is routed to a specialized quartz integrated circuit, so a tiny computer chip sitting inside the movement.
So the watch is generating its own power purely to wake up a supervisor.
Exactly. The quartz IC is the ultimate micromanager. Once awake, its only job is to monitor the precise rotational speed of that spinning glide wheel. It knows exactly how fast the wheel should spin to maintain perfect time.
Okay, but if the mechanical spring is pushing too hard and the glide wheel starts spinning too fast, how does a digital chip physically slow down an analog wheel without a motor?
This is where Lenz's law returns to the stage. Okay.
If the IC detects the glide wheel exceeding its speed limit, it commands the coil to apply that bicycle-like magnetic resistance.
The penalty.
Yes.
Yeah.
The coil generates an invisible magnetic cushion that gently pushes back against the glide wheel, inducing magnetic drag.
Without a single physical component ever actually touching.
None.
The IC uses the tiny power to read the speed, does the math, and then weaponizes the magnetic drag to slow the wheel down.
And this isn't like a sluggish, occasional adjustment. This feedback loop, the IC reading the speed and the coil micro-adjusting the invisible magnetic brake, happens tens of thousands of times every single second.
Tens of thousands of times a second.
Yeah.
It is constantly feathering the magnetic brake.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And through this incredibly rapid dynamic feedback loop, the IC locks the rotation of the glide wheel to exactly 8 times a second.
Wow.
Perfectly, consistently, day after day. And because it is a completely non-contact braking system, there is absolute zero physical friction.
Meaning zero wear and tear on the regulating components.
They don't crash, they don't scream, they just glide silently in a tightly controlled magnetic pool.
It's an engineering marvel.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. Just step back and look at the sheer irony of the architecture Grand Seiko designed here.
Oh, the philosophical irony of the movement is perhaps its best feature.
Right. Because they use a centuries-old, completely analog, physically wound-up spring to generate kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Then they siphon off a fractional whisper of that mechanical energy to boot up a modern digital computer chip.
Right.
And then that digital brain uses invisible magnetic fields to babysit, regulate, and constrain the exact same analog spring that birthed it in the first place.
It's brilliant.
It is a totally self-sustaining micro-ecosystem.
It creates a beautifully closed loop. It takes the very best attributes of mechanical watchmaking, the soul, the permanence, the limitless kinetic power of a spring, and marries it to the flawless precision of quartz digital technology.
But crucially, it does this without adopting the fatal flaw of a standard quartz watch.
Exactly, which is its reliance on a disposable chemical battery.
Right, because a normal quartz watch is essentially a slave to its battery.
Yes.
When the battery dies, the movement dies. It is electronic e-waste waiting to happen. But the spring drive generates its own life force. As long as you wear it, as long as it possesses kinetic energy, it lives.
It achieves total self-sufficiency. You know, the source material distills this monumental achievement into a phrase I find highly compelling.
Look at that.
They call the spring drive the ultimate expression of ecophysics.
Ecophysics.
Yeah.
I love that. That is a fantastic way to frame the ending of our deep dive today. Let's zoom back out from the microscopic gears and the invisible magnetic field and look at the broader landscape of luxury watchmaking.
Yeah, the author draws a stark contrast here. If you examine other titans of the luxury watch industry, they are historically chasing very different engineering goals. You look at a brand like Rolex, who has spent the better part of a century mastering material toughness. They build robust cases and shock-resistant escapements designed to survive the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench or the freezing peaks of Everest.
The ultimate indestructible tool watch.
Yeah.
Surviving the environment by basically building a thicker armor.
Exactly. Or you examine brands like Rado, who pursue the absolute pinnacle of scratch resistance.
Right.
They pioneered the use of high-tech, sintered ceramics and sapphire components so the watch retains a pristine, brand-new appearance regardless of external abuse.
But Grand Seiko, with the development of Spring Drive, went in a totally unprecedented direction.
They really did.
They did not just try to build a stronger cage to protect the fragile, screaming parts.
Yeah.
They didn't just search for a slicker synthetic oil. They decided to fundamentally tame the laws of physics themselves.
It stands as a masterpiece of elegant engineering. I mean, they entirely eliminated the physical collisions that plagued mechanical horology for centuries. They took the macro principle of electromagnetic induction, weaponized Lenz's law as a microscopic brake, and created a system that requires zero external power, relying solely on self-sufficient energy conversion.
And doing all of that computational math and magnetic braking while driving a second hand that moves with a completely continuous hypnotic sweep.
It truly is something you have to see in person to fully comprehend.
It is. You know, the author of our source material closes their piece with a wonderfully romantic assertion.
Oh, I like that part.
They write that for anyone who possesses a genuine love for science and engineering, you could sit with a drink for hours, simply watching that silent second hand glide around the dial.
Just marveling at the invisible forces locked in a delicate dance.
Exactly.
Just quietly appreciating the perfect silent harmony of energy conservation and magnetic drag operating flawlessly inside a small metal piece on your wrist.
Yeah.
It transcends being a mere timepiece, you know? It functions as a tiny, perfect, perpetual demonstration of physics.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, the next time you are riding a bicycle in the evening and you flick on a dynamo light, and you feel that sudden heavy resistance in your legs.
Or the next time you are riding in a modern electric vehicle and you feel the chassis smoothly, silently decelerate the moment the driver lifts their foot off the pedal.
You are experiencing the exact same invisible, opposing forces of nature that power the world's most elegant watch movement.
It is the exact same physics, just operating on a vastly different scale.
And that leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to mull over as we wrap up.
The implications of scaling this technology are fascinating.
They really are. The Grand Seiko Spring Drive proves definitively that it's entirely possible to build a zero-friction, batteryless, perfectly self-regulating mechanical ecosystem using nothing but pure kinetic energy and smart magnetic resistance.
Right.
And human engineers perfected this in a device the size of a coin. So if we can achieve absolute zero friction movement and perpetual self-regulation on a microscopic scale inside a watch case.
What else could we do?
Exactly. What other everyday highware technologies in our world could be completely revolutionized by this exact kind of thinking?
It forces you to look at every machine differently. I mean, if we can replace grinding physical friction with smart magnetic fields at the micro level, the macro level applications for industry and transportation are truly boundless.
If we can scale this up, could we eventually build large-scale machines like massive industrial engines, power turbines, entire public transit systems that literally never wear out?
It's a huge question.
Because if we can engineer a tiny watch that refuses to scream, maybe we can eventually build an entire world that glides just as smoothly.